Yasya yato ivayad itaratos charteso vigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hidaya Adhikabaye Muyanti Atsurayaha Tejo Varimedam Yata Vini Mayo Yatra Trisargo Misha Damna Srina Sada Nirastakuhagam Satyam Param Dimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature, appear factual although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma Pujita Kaitruvutra Paramo Nimatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shividam Tapa Trayon Bulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vaparer Ishwaraha Sadyohiri Aburudyate Tra Kriti Bihi Sususabhistakshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpaturur galitam phalam sukumutad amrita dravya samyatam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur ahorasika bhuvi bhavukaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, even though its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Idyantaksto abhadrani vidunoti suhitsatam. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly from Bhagavad Gita, it is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse number 10. Bhavad Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Svantakstena Gadabrita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My Lord, devotees like yourself are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by His diverse potencies everywhere. Just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by His unalloyed devotees like Vidura, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. A pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of the Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord, and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places. Take lessons from them. Try to apply such instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only to take a bath in the Ganges or Yamuna, or to visit the temples situated in those places. One should also find representatives of Vidura who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada, and when he chanted in writing, Sukadeva Goswami studied from his father, and he described it to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage, and the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place. And what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by questionable actions of interested people who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This is a very significant verse and purport, because without the presence of a pure devotee, it is virtually impossible to become Krishna conscious. And without the presence of a pure devotee or pure devotees, it is virtually impossible to become Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness is not an academic study. It's not based on what you know, it's based on what you do. So, and how you do it. So that is the criterion by which we can judge a place and the devotees that are in that place. Any place can be turned into Vaikuntha by the actions and desires of pure devotees. Therefore, Advaitacharya told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, that is, or wherever you go, that is Vrindavan. Why? Because the Lord was always chanting Hare Krishna without any material desire other than to please Krishna. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he demonstrated, coming as if an ordinary human being, how to become a devotee. So, by seeing the example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand what it means to be a devotee. And he, of course, inspired others, like Haridas Thakur, like Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and 6 Goswamis, and many other people, to take up the same process of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada explains what that process is. He says, the pure devotees are in the actual service of the Lord specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write of the glories of the Lord. And then he gives an example. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada, and then he chanted in writing. Sukadeva Goswami studied from his father, and he described it to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by the actions of the pure devotees of the Lord, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage. So you see, by actions. It doesn't say by simply meditation. Actions in Krishna consciousness is meditation, real meditation on the Supreme Lord. And that is the goal, to keep your mind always focused on Krishna. So the Mayavadi's way of doing it is that they're trying to eliminate everything in the mind and fix it on one point, like the tip of their nose or the third eye or some other imperceptible thing. But the devotees perform bhakti by which they focus their mind on one point also. That is, how to please Guru and Krishna. So, the Mayavadis try and fix their mind on one point by eliminating everything, including devotional service. The devotees meditate on one point, and that is how to please the spiritual master and Krishna. But they don't eliminate anything. They engage everything in that pursuit, in that one goal. So that's a major difference between how to fix the mind on one point between the Mayavadis and the devotees. By eliminating everything, you also eliminate Krishna. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But by learning how to use everything in Krishna's service, you don't eliminate anything. Because everything belongs to Krishna. So why should we eliminate anything when it can be used in Krishna's service? So when we begin eliminating things, that is incomplete renunciation for a devotee. And eliminating everything is considered complete renunciation for the Mayavadi. So you see there's a world of difference between the two approaches. One is impersonal and imperfect, and the other is always personal and perfect, because Krishna is a person and all the living entities are persons. Therefore, why eliminate anything? Better learn how to use everything properly in Krishna's service. So this is the one aspect of this purport. Then another aspect is that a devotee, a pure devotee, is defined here. That is, and Prabhupada gives the example of electricity. Now this is a very important example, because it shows that Prabhupada has not only spiritual knowledge, but through the spiritual knowledge, he has also perfect material knowledge. Why do I say that? Because he says here that the personality of God is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Now this is a fact, this is a scientific fact. Everywhere in space, in the material world, there is static electricity. Now, the scientists, by observing nature, eventually figured out how to transform static electricity into active electricity, or to harness that energy and use it. That is, right now, there's energy in this room. Right? But how do you transform that static electricity into directing it to do work? Well, for years, for thousands of years, people have seen lightning. Lightning is an example of static electricity in the air being transformed into something active and being and directed. So this is a very advanced scientific idea, and it's something that scientists are working with also, because how do you keep propelling a rocket in outer space? Eventually it's going to run out of fuel, right? However, if you know how to capture the electricity, static electricity, and transform it into active electricity, you can go on forever in space. You can propel your rocket forever. So these are advanced scientific principles. And so Prabhupada says, the Lord is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere, just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidura, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. So they've captured electricity and directed it specifically to light up an electric bulb. And the pure devotees, they capture the realization that Krishna is present everywhere in his material and creation and in the spiritual world. But they are different than most people, because most people don't realize it. But they've actually realized it, and they manifest that electricity just like we see electricity manifest the light in a light bulb. See? So that's why we need a pure devotee. Just like if something goes wrong with your car, you need a mechanic. Although you might be able to recognize this is a carburetor, this is a distributor, this is the brakes, this is this, this is that. But do you know how to fix it? No. Most people don't know how to fix those things when they're broken or not functioning properly. But the devotee knows how to use the omnipresence of the Lord to reveal how to be Krishna conscious all the time, everywhere, and not be out of touch with the Lord. So, the holy places all over the earth of the Lord, all over the earth, are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. So the atmosphere gets surcharged by the presence of the unalloyed devotees. Now, we can live in an atmosphere that's not surcharged by the presence of unalloyed devotees. So let's say you come to the temple and you see aarti. There is chanting of Hare Krishna. There is service opportunities. There are service opportunities. There are classes. There are festivals. What does that mean? If the devotees in the temple, the pujaris, etc., are actually pure in their desires, they know how to surcharge the atmosphere with Krishna consciousness. And when you enter into that atmosphere, if those devotees are actually pure in their motivations, you get surcharged also. You get inspiration. You hear things that inspire you. You do things that inspire you. It increases your faith in Krishna consciousness. And then if you go home and you manifest material desires, you lose that inspiration. You don't feel surcharged by maybe watching television or sleeping too much or not chanting all your rounds or this or that. You see, there's something about pure devotees that surcharges the atmosphere, that releases that static electricity that's present everywhere into active and pointed electricity so that you can light up a light bulb. Seemingly like magic. Like magic. You say, well, wait a minute. I never felt surcharged like this and inspired like this at home or at work. But when I come to the temple and there are pure devotees there engaging in devotion, I feel inspired. I feel surcharged. I feel that electricity of Krishna consciousness going through my body and lighting me up. You become the light bulb. So this is wonderful analogies by Srila Prabhupada. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places. Take lessons from them. Try to apply such instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. So this is what the goal of life is. Preparing oneself for the ultimate salvation of going back to Godhead. It's not meant for becoming a rich crorepati or some famous author that writes books about mysteries and political intrigues, etc. Or some athlete that can put a ball in a hole, like golf. The golfer puts a little ball in a hole, and the basketball player puts a little hole in the hoop, and the football player runs a little ball over a line. See? And they get millions and millions of dollars for doing it. And you have hundreds of thousands of people cheering and things like that. It's all nonsense, putting the little ball over a line or in a hoop or in a hole. See? When they at the golf tournament, everyone is quiet. And in the football game, everyone's screaming as loud as they can, And so you see, it's all nonsense. Whether you're quiet or you're screaming, at the racetrack, everyone is screaming. But instead of screaming Hare Krishna, they're screaming, a California horseman. So you see, everything is turned upside down in the material world, but the devotees put it right side up again by putting Krishna at the center of everything. So one should also find representatives of Vidura, meaning pure devotees, who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. So this is the quality, the special quality of a devotee. They have no desire other than to serve and please the Lord by the service. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service. Unalloyed service, that means service without any material motive, and the only motive is to please Guru and Krishna, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. See, Prabhupada is very eloquent. What does that mean, utopian speculation? That means you're speculating to create some kind of perfect model or world, but what you end up with is a hellish condition minus Krishna. That's what speculation does. You eliminate Krishna by putting your own imperfect thoughts and desires up front through speculation. So, no fruitive action, no saying, well, if I do this, if I roll this chapati, then and I sell it, I'll make 50 cents profit. Well, no, that's not why you roll the chapati. You roll the chapati to please Krishna. You're not worried about 50 cents profit or $1 profit. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. So, this is the main point. When one is engaged in service with other people, they don't remain quiet. They're always either chanting Hare Krishna or talking about Krishna. That quiet is the quiet of the Mayavadis. They have nothing to say about Krishna, and they don't have any reason to chant Hare Krishna. But the devotee is always either chanting Hare Krishna or talking about Krishna. See? So therefore, when you associate with advanced devotees, you're always hearing something that is educating you and uplifting you and inspiring you to stay in that association, because you're getting something you can't get anywhere else. Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, Krishna service, say, Krishna Prasad, and in different ways you're being given Krishna by the genuine devotees who are serving. And by serving with them, not only you get the benefit of the service, but you get the benefit of hearing and chanting and inspiration to keep doing it. So then he says that, he gives the example of Vyasadeva and Narada Muni, and he says something amazing. He says, Vyasadeva chanted in writing. Chanted in writing? How do you chant in writing? When you write about Krishna, it's equal to chanting about Krishna, because the subject is Krishna. It's not World War I or the Civil War or American history during the presidency of George Bush. That's not the subject. The subject is Krishna. So therefore, you're chanting in writing. And so there are so many points in this purport today. The last point is very important also. What to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested people? So they're not interested in Krishna consciousness, they're interested in their self-aggrandizement. In other words, increasing their own wealth or prestige, etc. That's what it means by interested people. It's not that they're interested in hearing and chanting. They're interested in their own selfish indulgence. So a holy place is, so such pure devotees are able to rectify the purified, polluted atmosphere of any place. And what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of, it means self-interested persons, who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. That is a big statement. It can be explained for a long, long time. That is, as long as there's even one material desire in the mind of a devotee, everything they do is polluted by it. Everything they say, everything they do, everything they desire is polluted. One material desire. What about if you have many material desires? So you see, one ends up engaging in a professional life of so-called Krishna consciousness at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. So when there are materially interested persons, they pollute a holy place rather than purify it. Therefore, we should all be careful. We should always analyze what our motive is for doing something. If it's tainted with material desire, instead of purifying and keeping a holy place purified, we will be contaminating it with our self-interest rather than working for Krishna's interest. Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavane Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Are there any questions? Okay. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi Haribol.